I am Ryan, the life changer, and I am so grateful that you decided to join me today. This podcast is called Unlock the Power of Your Mind. Let me ask you a question. Are you ready for your life to change? Are you ready to unlock the power of your mind? Are you ready to be the best version of you possible? I want to help you. I want this podcast to give new, positive meanings to the difficult times that you faced in your life. And I want to help you become the best version of you possible. This is your time. The change is happening for you now. I know you're ready. Let's help today to change your life. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much for joining me today on another episode of Unlock the Power of Your Mind. Today, I'm super excited. I have with me Kendall Ficklin. He is the founder of Boss and Grindation. He's a speaker, a coach, and an author. Kendall, thank you so much for your time today. How are you?
Ryan, thank you for having me. I'm truly honored to be on here with you and your audience. I am doing wonderful. I always tell people when they say, how you doing? I always say, if it got any better, I'll be walking on sunshine. ...
Love it. Love it. Well, I'm super excited for us to dive into the conversation today. I want to let you know how much I respect and appreciate your rawness and your realness. And I know that the listeners are going to have their lives changed today when we dive into that. So I want to start out by telling you that and share with the listeners a little bit about your early childhood, and then we'll get into more of what it is you do and how you help people.
Awesome. When you say early childhood, give me a frame of reference, because, I'm 51 now. And so early childhood for me could be 7, 8, 9, teenager. Give me a frame of reference.
Sure. So why don't we say this? What was maybe one of the most impactful moments in your early childhood, anywhere from, say, the age of 4 up to through your teenage years? Maybe you have more than one that really you look back on today and you say, I know this happened for me and led me to where I'm at today.
Yeah. So when I was about 5, I had to be about 4 or 5 years old. My father was an alcoholic, functional alcoholic. He would go to work every single day and then come home. He was always home by 11 o'clock p.m. Even if he was completely trashed, he would fall asleep. He would be home, but fall asleep on the front porch. And so Friday night and Saturday night, those were his nights. But Saturday night, he would be gone most days, all day, and then come home late that night. And of course, after drinking all day long. And, but every Sunday morning, he would always cook breakfast, right? And I'm not like, it wasn't anything spectacular, but he would cut the potatoes up. He would cut the onions and the peppers up to go in it. He would scramble the eggs. He wasn't making omelets and all that, but those used to be the best breakfasts ever, just basic breakfasts. And I remember this one particular day, but it typically happened every Sunday. This one particular Sunday, I remember being in the living room and I was watching TV. Now, back then we had channel 47, and they used to put the preachers on TV and they would be on there speaking like they do now. And I remember my dad was in the kitchen cooking and I was sitting on the couch watching channel 47. I think it was Fred Price at the time. And my dad came in from the kitchen and just turned the channel. And I was like, oh no, Dad, what you doing? What you doing? Don't turn it. And because I was just so engulfed in watching this man preach. Now, I didn't know what he was saying. I didn't connect to, the particular message, but I connected to the act of what he was doing. And my dad was like, I don't want to see that. That's that old, I think he said Fred Price, whatever. And I said, no, turn it back, Daddy, turn it back. And so he turned it back and I would sit there and watch. I could watch people speaking on TV, Fred Price and all the other ones speaking on TV all day long. And I just remember that day because it was then now that I remember where I saw what I was supposed to be doing and who I was destined to be. Not necessarily a preacher or a pastor, but to be able to communicate and do public and professional speaking as well as coaching. And I felt it. I would go to church with my mom and I never went to Sunday school. she would sit me in the chair next to her, and I remember looking up at the pastor preach and like listening, not knowing what they were talking about, Ryan, but listening and just being so connected to what he was saying. Again, I saw myself doing what I was supposed to be doing. So I tell people all the time, there's been a point in your life, because people always talk to me about, yo, what's my purpose? What are you passionate about? There's been some point in your life when you knew what it is that you were supposed to do because you saw it. You saw yourself doing it. You heard it. You heard yourself doing it, or somebody told you. But there's a feeling that you get on the inside where you know. And so for me, at 4 or 5, during those younger years, I saw who I was supposed to be. It didn't make sense then, but it makes sense now. And then, in between all that, life happens and, things take us away, take us off the road of our destiny. And when that happens, a lot of times we have a challenge. The challenge is to get back on the road. And most people that don't make it, meaning they're not walking in destiny or purpose, they don't get back on the road to destiny, to purpose. And what happens is they know the destiny, but they lose direction on the way to destiny.
Awesome. So let's unpack that a little bit. From the age of 4 or 5, you felt it, something deep inside of you that you said, like, that is what I'm supposed to be or to do. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Awesome. And I think that we all kind of have that, right? At one point in our life, we got those butterflies. We felt like, man, this is my dream, or this is what I want to do. And somewhere along the way of life, we lose that feeling, or we lose those butterflies. Let's talk about how you help people to get back on the road. First, by talking about how you were able to get back on the road yourself, Kendall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what happened was, I tell people all the time, I was an alcoholic. I mean, I fell off the road so hard. I was hustling. I've always wanted to do business. Let me say it like that. Even from a young teenager, I was selling candy in school. Then got into high school selling loose joints. Doing the illegal stuff, and then doing white collar crime. Never to the point where it would take over my life, but just hustling, trying to turn nothing into something. And so for me, I had just gotten to the point where, I got tired. I was an alcoholic. I had lost my family, lost the connection with my children, was about to lose my wife, and I got tired. Now, I'm not talking about got tired at 20 years old. I ain't talking about got tired at 30. I got tired in my 40s, and enough was enough after what I say I had tricked off a good 30 years of my life, because I'm 51 right now. But I got tired. And it was when I got tired of the hustle and the bustle. I got tired of the day-to-day activity. I got tired of transactional, right? And not being relational. And so I realized one day that in order for me to get to where I'm supposed to be, in order for me to be who I'm supposed to be, I have to create it and develop it from the inside out, not from the outside in. Because I learned that nothing comes to you until something comes from you. And what that means is the success, the achievement, the results that come from the outside, they're not going to come until you become your best self from the inside. So the first thing I had to do was put down that bottle. I had to get my MCI correct. And MCI is moral, character, and integrity. Because when you hustling, I say this to people all the time. I had a young person say to me, well, what's wrong with smoking weed? I said, what's right with it? Like, how is it adding value to your life? And they were like, well, I can still function and do the things that I do. And I said, you cannot manage your life if your mind is always medicated. And I'm not speaking from something that I read in a book. I'm speaking from a life that I live. And because my mind was always medicated, I wasn't making the right choices. When you get drunk sometime, you making decisions that affect not just you, but the people that you love and those that love you. And so I had to say, I got to start from here. I had put the bottle down. And it's like a ripple effect. Once I disciplined myself to do that, and look, so here's the thing, Ryan, people ask me all the time, like, how did you do that? Did you go to AA? No, and I was a straight alcoholic. I'm talking about I would leave my barbershop at 4:00 on a Friday, and that's Monday day for barbers. Go to the bar, stay till 4 a.m, and then leave the bar drive home, sit in my garage with some wine, and argue with my wife on the phone, and she was in the bedroom. That's how crazy it was. But I had got to the point, I said, enough is enough. And what I did was I traded in one addiction for another obsession, right? So I learned I have an addictive personality, right? So I had to become obsessed with something else to replace the addiction of numbing my mind and that feeling that alcohol gave me. And what that was walking in my true self, being the man that I knew I was supposed to be, that I saw at 4 or 5 years old. And so I just put the bottle down. For me, I was able to do a cold turkey. Now, let me say this before you ask me a question. I was just telling my wife today, or it was either my wife or my son today. I said, I'm going through a period now where health, I got to make sure my health is tight. So I'm going through a detox period, no more bread, no more sugar, right? I'm going through all that. And it was my son, told my son today, I'm like, bruh, like cutting out, stop drinking, that was easy. The bread, oh my goodness, Ryan. Ryan, bread is calling me. Like right now, I got a piece of bread calling my name. Come on. Or the sugar. Like I drank a cup or two of coffee every morning. I like to put raw sugar. So I was telling my doctor, I was like, yo, what's wrong with raw sugar? It says it's raw. It ain't white refined sugar. It's the raw. No, you can't do it. So I'm putting honey in my coffee. That is more challenging to give up and to stop and to, adjust that habit than putting down the alcohol. And it made me think. It was crazy. It made me think because I was like, Ryan, I'm like, okay, I always tell the story like I stopped drinking because most people, we make that a big addiction. But the truth of the matter is there's stuff that we addicted to that we don't connect to as an addiction, like my bread or my raw sugar. For some people, it might be shopping. It could be sneakers. Whatever that is, like if it's stopping you from being your best self in every area of your life, you have to assess it, make the adjustments. And in order for you to be great, you're going to have to change it.
Yeah, that's so powerful. And the message from that part that I want the listeners to take away is it doesn't matter where you are in your life, whether you're 20 and you feel like you're lost, whether you're 30 or 40 or 50. Kendall is an example, ladies and gentlemen, of when you decide to change, your life is going to change. But that change only happens when you make the commitment and say, okay, that's it. I'm done. It's time to get back up on the path. So
let me add to that too, what to help everybody out. When you do decide to make that change, right? Everything and everybody around you will change. So like for me, when I made the change, like my wife used to look at me sideways. And when I changed, now she looks at me straightaways. My kids went from calling me Pop to Daddy because I changed. And so for everybody that's out there listening, and Ryan, you know this, when you become the individual, the person that you're meant to or supposed to become, life will treat you different. So like when you're just floating around or when you're just existing in life, you have to wait for life to adjust to you, right? You have to adjust to life. So whatever happens in life, you have to make the adjustment because you're not being who you're supposed to be. But when you start walking in your true self and your greatest greatness, life will begin to adjust to you. That makes sense?
Oh, that's so powerful. And when we are addicted to something, and we all have that vice or have at one point in our life, it's not only breaking the addiction to that, but what you're talking about, it's about what that addiction brings into your life, maybe the people, the situations. And so it's not always going to be easy initially to break not only the addiction, but everything that surrounds it as you start to, as you say, get back on the road of your purpose. And now your surroundings are really starting to change.
Yep. And then you know what happens, and you got to control me because I am a speaker still. What happens is there's something that you want to do with your life. And this is for everybody. Ryan, you have the thing that you want to do. I got those things, that we call them goals, or we say our dream, right? But there's a vision that we have, right? And what happens is we're looking out at that vision and it looks so good. Like, I know for me, I want to get I want to say I want to get my six pack back, but I don't know that I ever had one. You know what I mean? I want to say, yeah, I'm trying to, like, I want to get I know I used to have a nice little chest, right? I'm trying to get that back, right? And now it's not, it's like a 51-year-old chest. So I'm going to get that back. But I got this vision of it. And I can see myself with the six pack. I can see myself, being healthy because I have sarcoidosis. And that challenges me from a health perspective. So I'm trying to get the energy back. But I can envision it. Like, I could see it. But most people want what it looks like, but are not willing to go through what it feels like in order to get it. So I see what I want. I want what that looks like. And now I had to learn that I got to go through what it feels like. And like, I know we talked about 4 or 5 years old, right? I knew who I was supposed to be at that point. I wanted what it looked like, but life was happening and I wasn't willing to go through what it feels like. And when I got tired, I made a decision and said, I got to go through what it feels like to stop drinking. I got to go through what it feels like to put this bread down. Even when I started speaking and getting on the road with E and all that, I used to sleep in the airport. I had to be willing to go through what it feels like.
So powerful. So one last thing before we jump off that topic, you talk about, the story we live versus a story that we tell ourselves, which is sometimes where I think people get caught up, right? And then about the story that we tell other people. Mm-hmm. And I think social media gets so easy to get trapped into that. So share with the listeners why it's important to understand the difference between, what it is we live, what it is we're telling ourselves that we're living, and maybe what we're letting other people think we're living.
Yeah. So remember, I talked about a little while ago, I said MCI, moral, character, and integrity. And included in that it's just real simple. Stop lying, right? There's a narrative, there's a lie, there's a narrative that we tell ourselves. There's a story that we tell ourselves, and it's a lie. There's a story that we share with the world because everybody wants to look like what they're not. I look at people's social media, even some of my clients, and I'm looking and I'm like, I know that you're not that. No, right? I know you ain't living this. You're not. And so I always tell people, and I think the reason why even you and I can connect is because I'm going to be, excuse the phrase, I'm going to be butt naked. I'm going to be raw, right? So I'm going to give you the dirt because it's in the dirt that you can connect with, because people that are being real can connect to people that are being real. And so I learned a long time ago, if I only show you all that's good, by the time you see me with the bad, you're going to walk away. And it's so important for you to be yourself in the season that you're in. Like when we jumped on here, like I haven't shaved. I just got back from Jamaica, I think last Sunday. And I haven't shaved, and I haven't even been to my office. I've been working from the house, because I'm going through the detox, and I've been doing video calls with clients all week. I've done my regular calls that I need to do online with people all week, and I ain't shaved. And some people are like, man, coach, you looking bad. This is real. This is the reality. Like, this is who I am right now in this season. And when I do shave, I might, look better, but I want you to see me at my worst so that when you see me at my best, you can know, like, you can go from here to there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to touch on something else that you said. I think sometimes people don't realize how much energy it takes to appear that you are something else. And they don't realize that if they took that energy and were just transparent, and instead of putting their energy into pretending to be something they're not, put their energy, as you said, towards that road of destiny, on that path of the best version of themselves, not only would they get to their goals faster, they'd enjoy the process so much more, because you don't have to feel like you're living two separate lives. I've been there. I've been at that point. And man, it's exhausting.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? When you're doing it and it's natural, you really won't have to expend that much energy trying to be other than who you really are. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is people say to me all the time, like, yo, I'm trying to get to where you are. And they don't even understand. I'm saying to them, okay, I'm not even where I'm going to be. However, where I am, I got to sustain, maintain, and then go above that. And so if you're not being your natural self, if you're not being who you're supposed to be, it might get you to a point. But the question is, can you stay there? Can you sustain that? Can you duplicate that? It's like a company. I was talking to my accountant, right? And we were talking about the income from the business from 2018. And we had a phenomenal year in 2018. And when I shared it with my coach, when I shared it with CJ, he was like, oh, bet, great year. And then he set the bar for 2019. And when I saw the bar that he set, I was like, whoa, like in my head, Ryan, I'm saying, well, before I even get to that, I got to duplicate at the very least what I did last year. And you got to get to the same point first and then exceed or excel into something else. So for those people that you're talking about, like if you're not being yourself, you might get to the same point, but will you be able to excel and keep the masquerade up over an extended period of time, right? That's why I always say, stop lying to yourself and stop lying to people. I told somebody yesterday, Ryan, I have personal clients I work with. So I was telling somebody, I got clients that have been with me for 2-3 years because it's relational, not transactional. And I'm building relationships, and I do that in life and I do that in business. Wonder why? Because I played a long game. And people go in the gym, right, Ryan? You see people in the gym? January 1st, they came in there, they was going hard. A week, so for some, maybe 2 weeks, maybe some a week. They disappeared because it's the short game. They want what it looks like, but they don't want what it feels like. And this is where people fall off because you don't really know that people that are truly successful are the ones that are consistent and they stay in the game long enough to make the adjustments and reap the benefits and learn the lessons from the losses.
Yeah, so deep. And I think that's tremendous about if you aren't being fully authentic, you may be able to reach a certain level of success, but it's almost kind of like if you weren't being authentic on your way there, it's like building a house on a bad foundation. Eventually, it's going to crumble.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to go into talking about your story. You say no one cares about your story until you can tell them how you came through it. I thought that was so powerful. It touched with me an emotional level because I feel I'm starting to get to that point and I'm ready to be vulnerable and share it. But to the listeners, explain what that quote means and how they can start to apply it to their life.
Yeah, so it's two parts to that. I say the first part of that is this is your life. You were given it to live, but you don't own it, right? You don't own this life. Every experience, every life happening is yours to share with the world, with other people, so that your past can help somebody's present and future. That's the first part of it. And then the second part of it is nobody cares about that story until you can tell them how you came through what you've been through. So think about it like this. You hanging around with the guys, y'all just chilling. You might be having some beers, you might be doing whatever. And then people are just telling stories. But if the stories don't connect to anything, nobody really cares. They may laugh, they may joke, but there's no end game to the story. So it's the same thing if I'm on the phone with you now and we're talking. If I'm just telling stories that aren't adding life or adding value to the people that are listening to it, then I'm just pushing death. It's almost like this is the way I do my business. I invest money into things that will grow, but you spend money into things that don't last or don't have value. I live my life the same way. I invest my time, I share my story, and I share it in a way so that individuals can grow, which means I'm going to tell you that I was an alcoholic. I'm going to tell you that my family was counting on me and I wasn't being the person I needed to be. I'm going to tell you I got tired of losing. And then I'm going to tell you how I made the adjustment, how I came through what I've been through. The story is just to connect you with me, but it's how I came through it that's going to keep you connected with me. And so it's so important for you, for me, for anybody. And this is the other thing. Don't, like, for everybody that's listening, don't think that because Ryan has a platform or Kendall has a platform where people are listening to us, that we are more than anybody else. Everybody's life is just as valuable as everyone else's. Your job, if you're listening to this, whether you say you're a speaker, you're not a speaker, you're a trainer, doesn't matter what your profession or your trade is in life. You have a responsibility to experience life and share that experience and those life lessons with another individual. Because, and this is the piece I always tell people, somebody somewhere is counting on you. Somebody that you don't even know, maybe. Somebody in your family is counting on you. And let me show you what I mean by that. I was diagnosed in 2012 or 2011 or 12 with sarcoidosis. And during that time, it was 2010, 11. During that time, I was still drinking. And I knew I was sick, Ryan, because I was 200 pounds at one point, and I had gotten down to 140. And I had this lump under my chin. And, my wife had kept saying to me, you need to go to the doctor, you need to go. And I was, being hard-headed, of course. But in my head, I knew I was sick. Now, I didn't say I wanted to die. Like, I didn't say I wanted to kill myself. But I was going through such a stage of depression that I just didn't care. I was drinking, smoking 4-5 packs of cigarettes at the bar and trying to be a closet smoker and just drinking my life. And I was just like, I didn't care. I just didn't care. And I was in the bathroom one day in the house and I just fell out and I couldn't get up. Now, Ryan, young, we men, we strong. We just feel like we can dance on ice and not fall. And if we do fall, we feel like we can get right back up. And that feeling of not being able to get back up changed my mindset mentally. So my wife, called my uncle and told my uncle he won't go to the hospital. My uncle made me go. Finally went to the doctor. And as I walked in the doctor's office and he kind of did the exam, I had done a scan and everything. And he said, basically from what I see, it looks like you have lymphoma. And I didn't know what it was at the time. He said, that's cancer. And I kind of figured I had cancer, because the lump and everything. And he said, but we need to do a biopsy just to make sure. And in my mind, I was like, I don't care no more. I just don't care. I was kind of done. I was just sick. I was sick. I was sick and tired. I was sick and tired. I was tired of being stuck in life. I was tired of not having, quote unquote, the things that I thought I should have. I was tired of not being able to fulfill the destiny that I knew that I was supposed to be doing, because it doesn't matter what you're going through, Ryan. And I know you've done this. There's a point where you looked at yourself in the mirror or thought to yourself, what am I supposed to be doing with my life? Who am I? Am I being who I'm supposed to be? Stuff, right? I know we all do.
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I'll share with the listeners, because this is going to come out in the book. I will tell you exactly where I was at that time, because you're being fully vulnerable with the audience, and I appreciate that. I was sitting in a jail cell.
Yep.
And I said, Ryan, you need to let the old version of you die. And starting at this moment in this decrepit jail cell, you need to rebirth a new individual. Otherwise, you're eventually not going to make it. That's what it was for me.
Exactly. And everybody has to have that. Some people call it an aha moment. I call it a ooh. It's that ooh moment, like, whoa, ooh. There's got to be that change. And for me, that's what it was. But I was still sick. I was still tired. And, we went and did the biopsy. And we went back to the doctor to discuss the results. And he had my wife and I waiting in his office for an hour. In my head, while we were waiting, I was like, this is ridiculous. Why am I in here waiting for an hour? Then, knowing now, there was a purpose, there was a reason for that we couldn't control, right? And within that hour, there was some conversation that took place between me and my wife. And, she was crying because, she didn't know what the results were going to be coming back. And she was like, you can't go now. I was like, what you talking about? She said, there's too many people counting on you. I was like, what do you mean? And she said, I'm counting on you. I was like, wow. And she said, the kids are counting on you. I was like, man. And she said, your mother is counting on you. I was like, oh. She said, there are people counting on you that you don't even know. She said, there's people counting on you that haven't been born. And she said this in tears.
Oh my
Love and
gosh.
respect her so much because she was with me when I'm talking about when I ain't have nothing. And those words, when she said that, that was my, ooh, it clicked. The answer to your question is, you got to know, you got to have a reason. Your why, your reason for doing and being has to be more powerful than your why not. And it was at that moment where my why, my reason, her, my children, my mom, my family, people I don't know, it clicked. And when he came in, he was like, well, you don't have lymphoma. Your biopsy came back negative. You got sarcoidosis. And I was like, because I'm ready now at that point. I was like, give me a pill, give me a shot, whatever it is. He said, there's no cure for it. So I wake up every day, I'm in pain. I wake up every day like, I have to go on and off of prednisone. And just recently, I'm on the natural thing now. So I'm detoxing. But here's the thing. I'm doing everything that I need to do to make sure my physical body can keep up with the powerful energy that has to carry my why, my reason for doing everything that I need to do. And so people ask me, and I'm sure they ask you, what keeps you going? Like, what keeps you so consistent? Because I'm not doing this for me. And I'm not doing it for money. Money in and of itself is irrelevant. If you work and you serve and you treat people the way they're supposed to be treated, all right, let me say it like this. I tell people, don't grind for money. Grind to be great. People will pay you to be great. But if you're just grinding for money, you'll get paid. But will you get paid all that you're supposed to get paid? But in greatness, in service, in giving the world what it is that you're supposed to give the world, people will pay you for that. And I bear witness, I ain't read it in no book. I'm living that life. So my goal is to keep being great so that I can be that man that I was looking for when I was growing up that I didn't have in my life.
Oh boy.
For somebody else.
Oh man, the listeners right now, this is, oh God, we could go on for an hour. Oh boy. I want to stop you there because I want the listeners to really soak this in for a second. Kendall brings up two different points in life where there are some people that may say, all right, that's it, I give up, which is, kind of getting to that lowest of low, or getting to the point where maybe you feel like that why, you don't have the answer to that why. And maybe the why nots seem like they outweigh the why. But I want to challenge everybody out there today to take a long, hard look in the mirror, or maybe you do some meditation. Maybe like Kendall did, you have a really, really heartfelt, deep conversation with somebody that loves you and somebody that sees you for all that you can be, and then go back and revisit it. Would you agree with that, Kendall?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it needs to be intrinsic and not extrinsic. Like it's got to be something that really, so you know what I say to the young people when I go into the schools and I talk to young people, I used to ask them who's counting on you, right? And it used to be difficult for them to catch that. And so I rephrase it for them. I say, who don't you want to disappoint? And for some of us, even as adults, we don't want to disappoint our children. We don't want to disappoint, our spouses. We don't want to disappoint our parents. And for the younger people, they're like, wow, I don't want to disappoint my mom. I don't want to disappoint my dad, my auntie, my grandma, whatever that looks like. And so just ask yourself, like, you have a why. And Ryan, what's crazy? Some people will say to me, well, I'm my why. And I always tell them, you can't be your why, because you're going to let yourself down every day of the week.
It's got to be bigger than you.
Oh my goodness, it's got to be bigger than yourself. It has to be. Think about all those times, because I promise you, I got a trainer who comes to the house 3 days a week, right? And trains my wife and I, right? I promise you, he came yesterday. And in the morning, in my head, I was thinking of an excuse so I ain't got to work out, right? But when my why kicks in, the reason why I'm doing it is to be in the best health. But then the other reason is I do it with my wife. She's counting on me. But if it was just me, I'd let myself down and be like, hey, man, I'm going to take the day off today. You cannot be the reason why you do things because you're going to let yourself down. And don't believe me. Just think about your track record. Look at your track record. How many times have you talked yourself out of stuff and into stuff?
We all do it every day.
Every day. It's got to be bigger than yourself.
Okay, so the listeners now all right, man. Like, hey, the amount of value that you have shared with the listeners in just a short period of time is incredible. Share with the listeners a little bit about Boss, what it is you do, how you help people, so that they can get connected with you potentially.
Oh yeah. So Boss is the business of speaking and coaching. So if you remember, I told you it was at 4 or 5 years old when I used to watch the speakers and the preachers on TV, when I realized that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so with the business of speaking and coaching, what I'm doing is training those speakers and coaches who are novice, who are intermediate, and I also have advanced people that are already in the industry speaking. What most people are missing is the business, because there's a lot of people that speak, but they're not running the business. And I think for me, the benefit was, I work with the best in the business, but because of my background, I've been a full-time entrepreneur for almost 25 years. And because of that, I treat my business like a business. So I tell all my speakers, you're not a speaker, you're not a coach, you're a businessman, you're a businesswoman. Speaking and coaching is a product, program, or service that you're offering the marketplace. And so you have to build your business model and do business, not just speaking. And that is what we do in the business of speaking and coaching. So we're helping people with the business behind the business, and then also the art of communication, how to develop your story, how to deliver that message, showing you how to build out the proposals, how to my 4-step process, which is give, ask, right? And so we run Boss once a quarter, where we do the business of speaking and coaching. Part of it is online. And then we have a 2-day, full-day boot camp at my offices in Atlanta at the end of every cohort. And that you can just Google. And hey, look, Ryan, I've always wanted to say this because there was a period when I would be like, if you Google me, the mugshot will come up. I caught a DUI back in 2009. And during that time, if you put my name in Google, the mugshot came up, or my son's mugshot had come up, because we was living a different life. So I always tell people, you can just Google me, Kendall Ficklin. That's Kendall, F as in Frank, Icklin, N as in Nancy. If you Google me, my website and everything will come up, and you'll see all of the information that you need right there.
Man, brother, you have no idea how much I can relate with you on so many different levels. It's like you're speaking to me right now, and I know that you're speaking to a lot of the listeners out there as well. What's one last message that you would like to relay to them? Maybe they're kind of at that point that you had described, and they feel like they're just not really sure where it is they should go, or why they should maybe go on. What message do you have to say to those individuals, Kendall?
Yeah, 2 things, and it's not that deep. The first thing is, ask yourself 3 things. The first thing is, wake up every day and don't say to yourself, what do I need to do? Ask yourself, who do I need to be? I'm gonna say that again. Wake up every day, and most of us say, all right, what do I need to do today? What's on my calendar for the day? Instead of asking yourself, what do I need to do? Ask yourself, who do I need to be today? For those, and here's the other part, who's counting on you? Identify who is counting on you, because those days when you don't want to be who you're supposed to be, or even do what you're supposed to do, you can only find strength in who's counting on you, right? And then the third thing is, and this is encouragement for the audience. I always like to encourage people. And I'm gonna use a quick narrative. I was just in Jamaica, and when we got off the plane, we had a service come and pick us up off the plane. It was a young man, he was 25 years old. And he was asking me why I was there. I was telling him it was a conference, boom, boom, boom. And he asked me what I did. I told him what I did. And he said, "Oh, you're a coach." I said, "Yeah." So he said, "Well, can you coach me?" I was like, what are you trying to do?" So he kind of gave me an idea of what he was trying to do and where he was trying to go. And I said, "How old are you?" He said, 25. And I said, "Just do it." And he was like, "Ryan," he said, "Yeah, but it's hard." And I said, "Who the hell told you it was going to be easy?" Right? I said, "It's going to be hard. Do it anyway." And that's the third thing I want to leave you guys with. Encouragement. I want to let you know it is going to be hard as hell. Anything that you want to accomplish, if it's worth anything, it's going to be hard. If you need to get a grip on your addictions, it's going to be hard. If you need to stop eating bread, it's going to be hard. You need to put the bottle down, it's going to be hard. If you're trying to get your relationship in order, it's going to be hard. But the question is, who's counting on you to do it? But without a shadow of a doubt, I want to let you know it's going to be hard. And anybody that tells you it's easy, they're lying to you. I'm telling you it's hard. I bear witness. I'm a living witness. It's going to be hard, but oh, so worth it. And look, because I went through the hard times, and I still go through hard times, it has prepared me I do work with the Chicago Bears in the NFL, with the Buffalo Bills, the Orlando Magic, major corporations, because I'm willing to go through what it feels like to get to what it looks like.
Mm. So powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, wow. There's rarely a time where I'm lost for words, but this was dynamite, Kendall. Thank you so much. This was even better than what I had envisioned in my mind and had hoped for. So thank you so very much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Let me say one more thing. This is to your listening audience. If you're listening and you're connected to Ryan, I want you guys, because you're connected to him, you guys have your energy is connecting with his. Reach out to him, connect with him, allow him to guide you through. Like what got me through was a coach, was a mentor. You guys, if you're listening to Ryan's show, connect to him, send him an email, ask him to work with you, and watch what happens. You always need somebody to give you some direction.
Thank you so much, Kendall. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, you got it. Man, appreciate you for having me. You guys be great. Talk soon.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast today. My prayer is that it has helped to change your life, to make a positive impact in your life. And I just want to let you know that every single day, the first goal that I write down is I have changed 1 million lives. So ladies and gentlemen, if this podcast helped to change your life today, I would ask you to please go on to iTunes, rate, review, and share this episode with somebody else who you know will benefit and have their life changed. Thank you again so very much. It means the world to me. Go out there and be great today. Make a positive impact in the world.